3. Well, it's preparing the live stream to meeting, so wait for a tiny bit. And as always, connect with fellow buddies and connect with Lauren on the networking sheet. All their links are found on the sheet shared by Yashar in the chat. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you all so much for coming to How to Create a Successful Freelance Design Business with Lauren, founder of For the Creatives. I'm Grace. I founded Design Buddies back in April of 2020, and it's kind of grown to like over 20,000 people as it is today in our community. And Design Buddies, if you guys don't know what Design Buddies is the world's largest design community where we have designers from all backgrounds. And we have many events like this and many activities happening in our Discord community. And for our adventure for today, we will go over I'll let Lauren present her presentation on how to create a successful freelance design business. And towards the end, we'll have a Q&A as well. So during this event, if you have any questions, please post them on Slido. This helps us keep all the questions in one place and let each other upvote so we can prioritize which questions to ask. And Sarah will be leading that part. At the end, at the last 2 minutes at 5:58 p.m. Pacific, we will have a group photo where you can turn on your camera, be on TV, and we'll later do a wave for our Instagram story. And if you want to connect with Lauren or any of our admin team or any of the buddies in this Zoom call right now, we have a networking sheet that Yashar shared in the chat. So make sure to connect with each other and just like vibe and make friends. And with that, I'll hand it off to Lauren.
Thank you, Grace. Hello, everyone. I am Lauren, as Grace mentioned, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. So, all right. So hey everyone. So as she introduced, we're going to be talking about how to create a successful design business. And I'm going to be going through a presentation of slides, and we're going to actually, by the end of this webinar, you're going to understand the overall strategy that successful designers are using to actually go from struggling to get clients, really trying to figure out how to get going as a freelancer, to really how to make a living as a designer, not just, trying to get by, but actually making a living doing it as your own business. So if you are ever wondering, is design even still needed with millions of businesses in the world? Do you feel like you just can't, maybe you just are not able to actually get work, and you're like, how do I actually reach these businesses? How do I actually get that work? Put it in the chat if you have ever felt that way or you are feeling that way. I definitely understand and was there myself. Anyway, what I want to make sure you also are, by the end, we're going to do a Q&A as she mentioned. So definitely stick around till then. I definitely want to know any questions you guys have to make sure that I'm able to help you. Okay, so for those of you who do not know me, I am Lauren, and I'm a graphic designer who created my own six-figure design business that I'm still running right now. So I'm still have my design business, I'm still freelancing. And I started professionally designing 12 years ago, and I worked in-house for 6 years as a creative director. And then I created my own freelance design business 5 years ago. So, but I'm telling you, at the beginning, like I said, I was struggling a lot. I didn't just come out of my job and magically have clients. I had to really, really figure out what to do. But I applied the steps that I'm going to share with you right now. And that has helped me to grow very well every year ever since that point that I actually figured it out. So, and I've also, if you don't know me on YouTube, I've been really, one of my biggest passions is really helping designers to stop struggling with feeling underpaid and undervalued. So I created a YouTube channel. I've been loving helping designers from all over the world and really getting people to understand how to be successful. So that is, and how to not just charge pennies and actually get paid what you can get paid and not just be barely scraping by. So there are so many talented creatives now that skill alone is not the only thing that actually makes you successful. Designers are no longer just competing within their own geographical zone. So Canada isn't just competing with Canadian designers, and South African designers aren't just competing with South African designers. Anyone can work with anyone across the whole world. So this then makes it so that getting hired is almost kind of like a bidding war, where it's like you just where you just keep saying a lower price until the client hires you. Has anybody ever felt that way? Let me know in the chat if you've ever felt like it's a bidding war. You have to just keep struggling to actually get people to pay, and you just do it on price. Yeah, it's just not a fun way to work. I'm just going to move the chat over here. Okay, good. I see some yeses there. You feel that way? Okay, I am with you. And I hate that concept. So, and do you ever see designers maybe on Instagram who seem to be so successful, and you wonder, what is the secret? How are they getting clients? And if you're struggling to actually find the clients and you're not sure where are they getting them from? Because I remember when I first started my freelance business, I put some work on my website. I put it on my Instagram, and I wondered why I wasn't getting clients instantly. Like, I thought I put up the work instantly, they should be trying to get work from me and hire me, right? And no one ever hired me that way. And the only likes I was getting were from my friends, my mom, and other designers, which wasn't the target audience I was trying to reach. So that was really not a good situation. So I was also getting more and more scared as the clients didn't pick up. And I started trying selling greeting cards on Etsy and other platforms, but it just wasn't sustainable. And I had a monthly software subscriptions and wasn't making enough to even cover these. So I was yet being told by clients they weren't willing to pay more. And in design school, I was taught all about that. It's all about the skill. You just have to know the skill. But they forget to teach you really about how to make it in the real world if you want to be freelance, not if you want to get a job. So does this all sound familiar to anyone? Let me know in the chat there. I see some people saying, my mom even bought my sticker to support me. That's nice. Yeah, absolutely. It's not a fun situation when that happens. But now you're here at this training right now to find an answer, right? And you want to make a living. Maybe you want to make a living being a designer, or you're sick of struggling, or you're sick of working for a 9-to-5 job, and you really want to know, how can you do it? So I'm here to tell you it is possible, and you can actually make a good living out of it. And you can make an actual consistent client machine. There was even a Forbes article that came out during the pandemic, and it said that freelancing is actually on the upswing with everything that's going on and the job losses. Demand is actually up, but the skills required to be successful encompass both the technical expertise, which you know as your skill as a designer, and commercial aptitude, which basically is knowing how to market and sell yourself, and even how to make a successful business. So that's what we're here to teach you about. So we're going to make an agreement right now that if you are here watching this, as you watch the training, I want you to see how it could apply to you and your design business. And I like to be honest, I do have a full mentorship and coaching program that I'm going to go over at the end right before the Q&A. But what you're going to get in this training right now is enough to really go back and really apply it to your own self. And I'm just going to say that it's how I actually went from going from very little money a month. I mean, this was barely enough to make it in the US. I was not making enough money to get by, and actually was able to get my business to up to above $10,000 months. And it's possible for you. It's possible for any designer. Now, obviously, you're not going to be earning $10,000 by the end of the webinar. And honestly, that wasn't even my goal when I first started my business. I didn't even think that was possible. But at first, I just wanted to cover my bills and get by. But actually, by applying what I'm going to teach you, I was able to 5 times my income and actually get to in the first 6 months of applying these tools, okay? And as I grew and I tested and I grew and I tested and I failed and I tested some more, I was able to get it up to 10,000, 11,000, and even 12,000 months. And if you apply this, you can be making that kind of money. It's not some far off, like pie in the sky kind of concept. So in this training, we're going to go over my 3 secrets, which is the first one is how to stand out in the overcrowded field of graphic design. The secret number 2 is how to properly attract the type of clients that you want to work with. And secret number 3 is how to charge higher prices for your design services. So I want you to just think and imagine, what would you do, or what could you do when you set up your design business with the correct pieces in place that I'm going to show you here? What would that be like if you were actually able to make 5-figure months and make 10,000 per month as a designer, or even just have a stable income giving you enough to get by and not be struggling? And would that be something that would make you happy just thinking with that goal? Okay. Travel the world. Awesome. Live in Union Square, houseboat. Those are some great answers there. Okay, good. So we're going to jump into secret number 1. So how to stand out in the overcrowded field of graphic design. Okay, so in design school, you are taught all sorts of different skills, right? And styles, and you get to experiment, which is not bad and not wrong at all. And I used to think that I had to be able to design everything that any client on earth would need. Anything, if somebody came to me with a website or an app design or user interface or logo or flyer or postcard for any industry everywhere, I thought that I had to do it. Even if I didn't know how to do it, I had to watch YouTube videos. I had to figure it out. And even if I was super amateur, I had to tell them that I could do it. And this was something that originated from art school, actually, where it was like if I had to just figure it out. And when I went into a corporate job, I was there and every department would come to me and say, can I do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And I would have to figure it out because that's what my job required me to do. And I had to be the jack of all trades. Now, the problem was it was hard for me to ever be exceptional at one thing. I was never really focusing and getting really, really good at one area of design. Now, when you actually go into the freelance world, as more and more talented freelance designers come and sites like Fiverr and Upwork and even Canva exist, you have to realize there are so many options for companies to choose from. And the only way to compete becomes based on pricing, like I showed you in the earlier example, where everyone's like, I'll do it for cheaper. I'll do it for cheaper. And this is the kind of trap you do not want to fall into. It's just hard to really be successful when you're always competing on price. And that's where the clients feel they're doing you a favor and they don't value your time. They require you to do endless revisions and they expect you to do things and work like within 24 hours. And that's just not something I enjoyed doing. And I don't know about you guys. Has anybody experienced that or ever felt that way where people expect so much of you and they don't actually value your time? Spot on. Yeah, me. Okay. I hear you 1000%. So that's why now this is something I want you guys to understand, and I'm going to get into it in detail. But when you choose one core design service for one target audience, you're going to stand out with something that makes you different than every other designer offering every other service. And for this example, you can see the red circle, which is someone doing brand identity for coaches. So if you look, you have all the blue circles there, right? These are all general designers just competing on prices. And then you go here and right away it stands out because it's a differentiating factor. So all the coaches who are looking for brand identity would gravitate towards that person as opposed to the thousands of other options or even millions of other options that are out there offering all services. So you'll be seen as the expert and they know you're going to do a better job because there will be way less competition and you're not going to even care about the competition. You're going to not really be competing with other designers because you're the best at that specific thing for that specific type of person. So now, before you blow away or you leave or you think this idea is too scary or you're like, absolutely no way, I hate the idea of specializing, before you start thinking that, because I'm sure at least one or two of you are thinking that right now, I want you to just listen to what I'm going to say, okay? I want you to really, really understand the importance of this. And it's not just something that's coming from me. It's been tested over and over and over by many, many marketing people and actually designers who have done this very successfully. So most students also of mine get really freaked out about this when I tell them they have to do it. But once they do it and they see it works, they can't stop talking about how they wish they had done it earlier. So it's a basic marketing secret weapon. That's how successful businesses become successful. And here's a quote which might resonate with you right now. If you don't experience at least a little fear over the idea of walking away from numerous prospects, then you may not be claiming a narrow enough field of expertise. Be afraid. And then he also says, fear should give way to excitement. Even years later, you should be excited about your ability to find and help people who recognize your expertise. Nothing brings clarity like focus. So Now, to give you some examples here that may be true for you, let's just say you have an Apple computer. I have an Apple computer. For any PC people here, I'm sorry, I'm very biased, but here, I'm going to give it as an example. But let's say if you had some problem with your computer and you had to get it repaired, and there was a bunch of maintenance stores in your area that maybe they didn't specialize. They just offered cheap services for radios or PCs or laptops or phones or any type of electronics. They could do it. Now, and then who would you rather choose? Would you rather bring it to some, a generalist, even if they were much cheaper? Or would you actually, because you really care about your Apple computer, you want to make sure it goes to the best, would you bring it to an Apple store who really specializes in Apple computers? Let me know in the chat which one you would you rather choose, the maintenance, everyone, the generalist electronics store, or the Apple store. Okay, good. I'm seeing lots of Apple store, Genius Bar. Yep. Okay, good. Good. So now another example, just to bring this really home here. If you were to need a surgery on your eye, okay, would you go to a general surgeon or a surgeon who specializes in only doing eye surgeries? Who do you think would get a better product? And who do you think would be able to charge you more? Probably, yeah, the eye specialist. Exactly. Okay, awesome. So now, more than ever, differentiating yourself is so important. It allows you to stand out from all the other minions. I know designers are not minions, obviously, but that concept of there's just thousands and thousands saying, pick me, me, out there. And really the way that what this really helps you to do is to stand out like a cardinal, like this red cardinal in the snow. And you're saying, I know this industry, I know what you need, and I'm the one you should choose. And it helps to actually really stand out from everyone else. So you become the go-to designer in one niche. Now, what is a niche? Because you probably heard people talk about this. Maybe you don't understand what that means. Now, a niche is a common group of people with a common problem. That's the simplest definition of it. And it's not everyone, it's not all people everywhere. It's this small common group of people that share something in common that they're trying to resolve. So now, let's say that you are a designer for real estate agents. That's the niche you choose. And a real estate agent needs a designer. Who do you think that they're going to choose? A mediocre designer, or you, the expert at exactly what they need, who knows the type of material that you need to design? You know their business better than anybody else. Who do you think that they would choose? Let me know in the chat. Do you think it'd be mediocre or the expert designer in real estate? Let me know there. Okay. Expert, exactly. There you go. So now, this is one other thing that to really bring this home. Let's say you choose to, you have to go to a doctor. Did you know that actually general doctors charge even about $100,000 less per year? They actually get paid than a heart doctor, because a heart doctor specializes in one specific thing. They're not just a general doctor. Yeah, they could also be a general doctor for you, but they have gone even more and more and more specific down to being a heart doctor. So that's just another way that really to bring this point home. And so what you do is you choose one core type of design service, such as logos, brand identity, web design, and then you choose a common group of people who need that service. And you can always pivot or change to another niche later on. It's not like it's a life sentence, but it is the way to get started and get the clients coming in way faster than if you were to just say, I'm here for everybody everywhere. So what you do is you choose one of these, and then you choose a type of industry. So it could be something like real estate agents, or a type of style that fits with boutique shops, or a platform like Amazon or Etsy sellers, or it could be a type of person like a health coach. So how can you actually know where to find these people or where to find clients if you're offering all services to everyone? It makes it almost impossible, because the world is not your target audience. If you go to Clubhouse, or you go to Facebook or even Instagram, you don't know what hashtags to follow. You don't know, you can't just do all small businesses, which is a common mistake that I did at the beginning too, because small businesses, there's only really three types of businesses: small businesses, medium businesses, and large businesses. So you have to find a type of small business if you want to do it. You can't just say all small businesses. And then you can go into communities and find clients where there are actually maybe only one or two other designers for that specific type of industry, as opposed to thousands and thousands of other designers. I tried this with a small business group on Facebook, and anytime someone would ask for a logo, about 200 other designers would comment on that. So you can imagine that's the reason that you've got to really, really understand that. So now, if you think about, I just want you to think about for a second, your absolute dream client. Like if you could just think about the one that you would absolutely do anything to work with. Now, why would they choose you out of the tons of other designers in the world? Really think about that. Do you specialize in the space that they're in? Now, I heard a story recently which really brought this point home, which is there was $1 million tech project that somebody was working on, and that actually they needed to have a design team do. And there were 60 different branding companies that they went to actually get the service. And it got down to the wire. And who did they choose? They chose the one that was specialized in tech companies. They didn't choose, even though they really liked some of the other ones, when it came down to the wire, they chose the one that was specialized for what they did and what they worked on. Now, everybody else who wasn't specialized for that missed $1 million opportunity. So you really only need a few clients in that niche too to actually really make a good amount of money. So if you want to work with the big guys in your niche, in any niche, or your dream clients, you start small, super laser focused in the smaller companies within that field, and you'll get more known in that space. And then you can move up the ladder to then working with the ones that are at the top. So, but you got to start somewhere. You can't just go for the top without really proving yourself, getting the portfolio there, and really understanding the lower ones that are actually still could pay you a good amount, but they're not those huge dream clients yet. But you can absolutely get there. It's just literally like walking up the ladder. So here's a student of mine. I just want to give an example. She just launched her design business geared specifically for coaches who want to be digital nomads and they need a brand identity. So she was able to actually increase her prices by about 4 or 5 times what she was charging before she specialized, because she actually went narrow in one specific field for a specific type of person. She wasn't just saying, I do strategy brands for everybody in the whole world. She said for coaches, and she has it very clearly throughout her website and on her social media platforms. And then if you've ever heard of Marty Neumeier, he's this super brand master. Grace, he's actually from Silicon Valley, and he became the software packaging guy before rising to be a master brand strategist. So all by starting super narrow. Okay, so he did just packaging design for these tech startups. And he started with that exact niche. And then here's another one I just want to share. It's a funny one. It's Saul Bass, who he's actually gone on to do the Kleenex and AT&T logos. But before he got into that, he actually went super narrow and did movie posters. So he became known throughout Hollywood, and they even then hired him to revolutionize the title credits, the beginning of some movies. And you'll probably seen his work. He's like an icon in the design industry. So, but he started narrow. He didn't try and do everything. Now, there could be 100,000 companies in the world in the niche you choose. And if you just got 100 of those, you'd be set for a long, long time. So you realize that even if it's a narrow niche, that doesn't matter. You don't need that many clients to really make a good living. Actually, when you have a lot of clients, normally that's because they're paying you much less. So if you try to be like everyone else, you'll just be another drop of water in the sea. But if you hone in on one core service and one core audience, you're going to rise up to be like an island standing out from the sea. So who wants to be an island standing out from the sea? Who would rather be an island than a drop of water? Me. Okay, awesome. Yes, that is exactly. So this is the way to do it. So now, After you choose who the audience is, you now need to know how to properly attract the type of clients you want to work with, which brings us to secret number 2, which is how to properly attract the type of clients that you want to work with. So you probably think you need to have some killer website and some awesome, huge amount of portfolio work in order to actually get anybody, right? Or be some every type of designer offering every services. I think I probably made you understand that's not, but you do not need to have just this killer website in order to attract clients. That's not the only answer. It is a way to get there. Become a continent. Sorry, I just saw that. That's funny. Yes. So you just need to know your ideal client more than anyone else. This means, where are they online? What is their driving reason that they would hire you? And what problem are they running into in their business that you can actually help them to solve? So what would that be that requires your services? Any company has at the foundation a problem that they solve for clients, whoever they serve. Just like a grocery store, they solve the problem of people being hungry. You have Uber solves the problem of how to get people from one place to another. So as a design company, you also are helping to solve a problem for these businesses that you actually designed for. And if you know exactly who you're talking to, you know exactly how to talk to them and connect with them. So as a designer, whether you realize it or not, your designs fall under the branding or marketing for that company, right? And whether it's website or business cards or social media posts or flyers, in order to find out what that core problem that your clients have or need solved, you need to research it. You need to ask them. You need to get in communities and actually dig and really get down there and find out. And that's where people, when they just put up a portfolio and they don't have any messaging on their site to really actually speak to who they're trying to attract, it kind of just goes out over their heads. If you're saying, I'm just going to do a pretty logo, I'm just going to do a pretty website, people aren't going to respond to that necessarily, or a very, very smaller amount of people will respond. So now what you do is you want to find out, what is that pain point? What is the driving reason they would do anything to hire you? So is it more sales for e-commerce? That might be what their problem is. Or a dentist, they need more patients. Or maybe more donations for a charity. So maybe what you do is you design these beautiful brochures that actually help actually get more donations for that charity. So when you're actually promoting your services, you put on your website that you can help them to increase their donations through actually getting them to hire you to do a really nice brochure for them. So you connect the dots in what they really need to what your services do. And it's all really about the marketing aspect of how to communicate. So you can't assume you know what that is, but you do have to. That's why the research comes in so important. So now, clients struggle with freelance designers. So this is something I get a lot from clients that hire me, is they've just hired a freelance designer who doesn't understand their industry, doesn't understand what they're doing. And they come to me to kind of get help, because they get frustrated when the person doesn't understand or maybe doesn't really know what they need in their specific business. So it also, when you specialize, you gain so much confidence as a designer, because you then really know you can go into that meeting, you can go into a project and say, yes, I can help you get where you want to go. And that's a selling point in itself. When people are confident, they're more likely to hire you. So now, because of the research that I did for my specific business, I knew the biggest problem I was solving for them was boosting their sales, giving them attractive graphics that actually boosted their sales. So I put that very clearly on different points in my website and my social media. And for those who don't know, my specific target audience is Amazon sellers. So the people who actually sell on Amazon. And when I put those different pain points and I really was communicating with the messaging, I was able to hit their pain point like a dartboard and got so much more higher conversions on my site when I targeted them and I actually spoke to them. So do you guys see how this works? I just want to check in with everyone. Put a yes in the chat if this is making sense. I really want to make sure. Okay, yes. Okay, awesome. Awesome. I'm so glad. Okay. All right. Then we're going to keep on rolling here. So now, if you just jump to building a website and a logo for your brand with only a portfolio, without first really understanding your clients and getting your messaging right, and what will actually resonate with them, it's kind of like building a house, putting up a door to a house without actually building the foundation, building that structure. And that is something that people get backwards all the time. And if you have done that, it's okay. I've done it. I did it at the beginning. I just put it up. And that's where I like to really educate designers, because, and it's great when you're just starting too, because if you get it right at the beginning, you're going to be much more successful quicker. So that's just an analogy of how that works. Is it's backwards and you're not going to get very far. So now you figure out how your design services actually would solve the problem they are running into. It's all about positioning it correctly in the minds of your ideal clients. Because if you just say, like I said before, if you just say, I'm a designer, I'm going to make something super pretty for you, I'm going to make you a beautiful website, that maybe they do want a beautiful website, but that may be not enough to really get them to pay you the kind of money that you are worth, what you actually, because your services are super valuable. They don't have the skills, they don't have the computer, they haven't gotten trained, and paying $5 for a logo is just not a good exchange for you and what you've actually done and gone the training. So that's why you position it correctly and they realize, oh, wow, this person is super valuable. I absolutely need to hire them. Okay, so next we're going to go on to the next slide here. Okay, so I just like to show here, you have to know where they are online too, right? You can't just go like here, you look at the Ralph Breaks the Internet, if you've ever seen that movie, and just the internet is very noisy. There's people everywhere all the time trying to get the attention of people, of viewers. And they're trying to really, really figure out, so where is your ideal client? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Clubhouse? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Just because you as a designer maybe love Instagram, that doesn't mean your ideal client is there. So if you look at it like this, only 3% of people are actually ready to buy. That's why I never recommend doing ads. Ads have, they have a place, and they do work sometimes. But when you really want to connect with people, you don't need to use ads. There's a lot of other ways that can actually get where you want to go. So if you looked at social media parties, kind of like, social media sites like networking parties, and you wouldn't walk into a party that you were invited to and just start screaming, do you need a logo? I will sell you a logo. You probably would just get kicked out of the party, or people would look at you kind of funny, like, what is he talking about? But if you actually help them out, if you actually show how you understand their business, and because you have already done so much research and know them better than any of your competitors, which positions yourself as the go-to person in that space, you can see here where you can then educate them, put out posts that help them, show why they need branding, explain it. Don't be all salesy about it, but actually educate. That's really the new marketing. There's a book that is really good. I don't remember the name of the author, but he talks about the new PR and marketing. And it's really all about helping people, educate them, bring them into your community, make them understand the value. And instead of just selling, because there's so much, like you saw, it's so important to not just blend in with all the noise of the internet. So now what that does is it brings us to the focus should be on positioning yourself as an authority, right? An authority for these people, for the clients you want to work with. Show them that you understand them. And that is how you're actually going to be able to charge higher prices for your design services. So I just had a client, I wanted to tell you, who actually was recommended by his Amazon coach to go to Fiverr and get a $5 logo for his brand. So he actually heard me on a podcast, and he decided to actually check out what services and what I had to offer. So after he saw my whole brand was actually geared toward his type of business and that I really understood him, he realized he would rather pay much more and get better service for his brand, which he really loved. You know, the ones that just want to pay $5, they probably don't really care much about their brand, and they're never going to want to pay more. But there's very much those ones out there that do care. They do want to get more. They do really want to actually invest and go with a professional who knows them inside and out. So I've seen it both ways. I've seen both sides of the spectrum. So this story happens over and over and over for all the years I've been specializing, and it's how I have grown my brand, generating the $10,000 months. So this took me from being an order taker, listening to what they needed, what they were telling me they needed, and delivering it for cheaper prices, which I did. I used to deliver it for way cheaper prices, and to actually telling the clients what they needed and being able to direct them, allowing me to charge higher prices. And to gain this momentum and authority, it's the latter thing again. You start at the grassroots, you go in Facebook communities, you start interacting. And I went into some of these Amazon groups and just became known. I added value. I didn't start posting, I will design everyone's logo. When somebody needed something, I would offer my services, but it was really, really understanding the clients and interacting. And then that led to actually me getting onto podcasts where I was able to reach thousands of my ideal client and then being inundated with actually people coming to me. I didn't have to do any outreach for about a year after these podcasts. So it's all about that, going really deep, understanding your ideal client, being able to put your prices higher, and then people will come to you because they know you understand them and they're willing to invest in that. Okay, how's everyone doing? Is this making sense to everyone? Yes, having that pipeline is amazing. Yes, awesome. Okay, 100% eye-opening. Awesome. Great, guys. Glad to hear this. I'm gonna keep on rolling. Okay, so now, if let's say that you hate being interviewed, or you hate the idea of getting out there, and that just like podcasts or that concept of really becoming an authority like that just freaks you out. I totally understand. I could have never seen me doing podcasts 5 years ago, but you can do other forms of content. You can do blogs. You can actually do guest social media posts. You don't have to always use your voice and video. That doesn't mean, the internet has so many different modes of actual communication. You can find the one that feels most natural to you. And if you just think about your favorite brand, are they always trying to sell everywhere you look? Or do they actually provide value and add a connection and look to enhance some aspect of your life? So yeah, medium.com, that's definitely a good place. I've read Marie Forleo's books. I follow her on Instagram, and she isn't selling. Her whole goal is to really help others. And yeah, when she offers her program, those that are following her are much more interested, most likely, because they know her whole purpose is to help. And they're not selling, that she's not just selling. And I would understand that her services would be higher priced because she's really gone focused on a specific type of person. And I think I saw some people mentioning Gary Vee earlier in the chat. I didn't read the exact thing you were saying, but I've been following him, and he isn't selling. He's obviously always trying to help. He's always there to give guidance, educate, and he obviously does a great job at that. So do you see how this all works? It's if you have a cohesive content strategy that helps to position you as an authority in the minds of your ideal clients, and which has the goal to help them, not sell them. You don't just direct message people saying, I will design your website, or some cookie cutter messages. You're not talking to a screen. And I think a lot of people forget that we're not talking to a screen, especially during the pandemic time. We're not really as face-to-face as much, but there's a person on the other side. And if you did the research and you understand that person, and you're talking to one person when you're really putting out these messages, whether it's direct message, whether it's through a blog, in other different forms, you care about those people, and you really, really show that, people will be more likely to respond, and they're going to be more likely to hire you. So it's so much harder to compete with the noise. There we go. Ralph breaks the internet one more time. So you start small in one section of the internet and sending messages, interacting in the communities. And you're going to start to realize and notice that they will look at your website. People will start to look at your social media. They'll start to follow you because you're there showing up consistently and in the right place. You're not over across 5 different platforms. You're in the right place where they are, and it's gonna be shown. So while at the beginning, I did have to do a lot of outreach to get the wheel rolling. After you get enough seeds planted and reach the gold mines, your ideal client will come to you. And you won't have to dig. So that is the whole thing of this actual wheel is you over deliver, you get word of mouth going, you get new clients, and it just creates this business machine that is much more likely when you have this niche. So, and also the final piece of the puzzle is to help you charge more is that you are in good communication with every client. You're over delivering. You're going to get tons of clients coming in, and you're going to be able to keep increasing your prices because you're not going to be able to take on as many clients anymore. And only the ones that really value you are going to stay. So it all comes back full circle to that point. Okay, so now I know it's been a bit of time here. So if I had a way just to show you a bit deeper into this, would you want to hear about it? Okay. Would that be something you would be interested to know how I can actually go even further with that? Definitely. Okay, great. Like a product flywheel. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So remember, I just want you to remember why you're here to begin with. Maybe you're struggling to find clients. Maybe you're struggling to go full-time freelance, or you don't have that stable income as a designer that you really want to get, or clients are paying you horribly. Okay. And you want to actually break out of that. So if you're ready to really build a business that you can truly be proud of and go even deeper into all these different concepts, I wanted to welcome you to actually work with me in the Consistent Clients Blueprint program. And what this is it's basically a step-by-step path that I have used to get my business into $10,000 months, and is what I created after asking myself, what do I wish I knew when I was starting my design business? And this is the path to get you where you want to go in that business and really create the real business you want to have for yourself as a freelance designer. So inside it goes over these concepts that we went, but in much deeper. And you have a full mentorship program with me as well. So what it goes over is how to stand out from other designers, narrowing and actually deciding on the right niche for you, researching in depth your ideal client, confirming it. You actually get your first client in your niche. Some of my students actually get it within the first few weeks. They can get their first clients in their specific niche by actually going deep this way, and go into how to charge higher prices for less work, how to overcome self-doubt so that you actually get rid of your limiting beliefs that are stopping you from charging higher, crafting your brand so it actually attracts your ideal client, how to charge the prices for less work, and establishing powerful systems in your business to actually save you time and money. And then how to get consistent design clients, which is the effective tactics to get clients and turn them into loyal lifetime customers, creating your own content plan for up to a year to position you as an authority, and learn how to sell and how to avoid and deal with bad clients, because everybody gets those, as we know. And here are just some of the different things that people have said that are in the program. I got 2 new clients this week, a total of 5 this month. Has been a game changer. I think without the program, I would have continued to feel overwhelmed with all the things people tell you to do, swimming in circles. Honestly, I learned a lot in every lesson, had so many aha moments. This person, after she got in the program, got a bunch of new clients right away. It's going very well. I got another client with a possible web design, got 2 new logo jobs as well. Thank you for your constant encouragement, reminders to keep us focused. The program reframed my whole design passion and career, properly grow my business without the freaking overwhelm, pushing me beyond my comfort zone. Finally giving my business the attention it deserves to grow is a win for me. Got my very first paying client, got my first client. And then here's one of the last ones I'm going to show. He says, I'm totally blown away by how effective this method for finding clients is. The course ended up being way more involved and comprehensive than I had hoped, so my expectations were far exceeded. And then JB says, I've done to invest in myself. It's the best thing I've done to invest in myself. I would highly recommend this program for anyone looking for tips and tricks on what to do without wasting any more time. So basically what this has in it is it's 4 modules, 40 plus lessons with step-by-step training, only what you need. I don't believe in courses that drag on and on in theory. So it's really balanced between theory and practical. And it has actionable steps on every lesson. And then you actually meet with me weekly for coaching calls, group coaching calls. So this is a whole mentorship program with me on this. And you actually get monthly sales practice calls. So I actually practice with you so you can actually feel more confident in talking to clients on the phone. And a lot of designers maybe don't like talking on the phone, and I understand that. So it's something that we practice a lot. This has been a game changer for me. This guy, one of my students said that. And so now what you're going to get is it's 40 plus value packed lessons, lifetime weekly coaching calls, monthly sales coaching with me, and the daily community support. So this is a total value of $12,286, but I'm doing it for $1,297. But because you are here for all of this, it is $997 with Design Buddies. So now, if that's still too much, I always want to make it as accessible as possible for as many people. But it is 3 payments of $349 per month or 1 payment of $997. And there is a 14-day money back guarantee in case. I want to make it obviously as accessible as possible. And I just want to ask you, if all it did was actually show you new ways to get clients in your design business, would it be worth that? And if all it did was give you more confidence in your design business, would it be worth it? Or if all it did was allow you to charge higher prices, would that be worth it? So I could have just made it cheaper with no weekly coaching, but I really, really, really think that each design business has its own unique problems and its own unique way of doing things. Each one of you are unique. So I wanted to make it a higher investment so I could personally be there with you, walking you through, having my eyes on your design business. And because I know your ideal clients are out there, they need your design services right now. You just need to know how to find them. So I just want to make sure you're not wasting time trying to figure it out all your own, and that you can actually get that proven path to set up your dream business. And this program, I just want to say, it's not for brand new designers who are still learning, and it's not for those who aren't willing to really commit and go for it. So it is work. It takes time. It's not just something overnight, but it's definitely for those that are really committed to it. So that's the link. I think that Grace already put it there. Oh, and you also get a bonus one-on-one private call with me to really walk through yourself once you join, and I get to really understand your goals, your business with me. And just one thing is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. So that is it. I will stop the presentation now. We're going to get into the Q&A. So here we go. So I'm going to stop the sharing of the screen.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was great. And especially standing out, identify your niche is super, super important to stand out amongst other designers and providing value. And so with Sarah, we'll do the Q&A.
Okay, awesome.
Hi, I've been monitoring the Slido, and you guys have been submitting questions and upvoting ones that you really think you want to get the most out of it. So people have been asking about pricing. How do you estimate and give clients a quote? Like, is there like a similar, like sort of an overview breakdown of how you evaluate that?
Yeah, so this is where it comes down to knowing which, it obviously is going to vary per industry. Like if you're working with some tech companies, tech startups who have actually a budget to invest, they're going to have different types of budgets, as opposed to the industry that I work in is Amazon sellers. They have much tighter budgets. So it really comes down to, you have to know what the your goal is as a designer. What is your overall yearly goal? What do you want to be making? And you have to kind of work back from there and really, really know your numbers, know what your expenses are, know how much you need to be making, and then how much you need to be making on a monthly basis. And I always say that this is obviously, you want to be probably making 6 figures, you want to be making $100,000. So think with that. I mean, and then get into industries that you can actually charge that kind of pricing. And when you go narrow, you can actually charge those prices, as you saw in the whole presentation, why that works. So the best formula, I would just say, if that, does that answer in any way, really working back from where you want to, and then figuring out how many projects you want to have, how much you're willing to work, kind of figure out your own hourly rate internally. And then you can think, okay, I need to be making $2,000 a week. So I need to be charging this amount in order to meet that goal. Does that answer a question at all?
Yeah, that's actually super helpful, because I've talked to a couple of business coaches and stuff before, and they always recommend saying, like, how many clients do you want a year, and how much are you going to charge for those clients in order to make your yearly goal. And also thinking about industry is really important too, because if you're working with small businesses, they might necessarily have as much to pay you versus like a tech company or somebody that's in healthcare.
Right.
So thinking about like those industries. But that's really important, because especially invest in like those business goals, like the money goals that you want to make, because then you're able to calculate hourly rates and all that. There's a whole like process of that, but that's really helpful.
Okay.
And also, so people did have a lot of questions about how to specialize, especially when some people say like they're not sure what niche to go into, or they feel like they're a generalist at heart. And so how do you typically find that niche that works for you? And maybe possibly even building a portfolio for that particular industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this all gets really walked through, and there's lots of exercises I have you do in the program to go deep, but I can give you kind of an overview of what the best thing is to do is really write down the things that you have loved, the type of work you love to work on, and really think about the projects and the type of people you love to work with, and what really gets you excited, and just make a bunch of lists and really go through and compare, like, okay, can I see myself doing this? Because you don't have to just do that forever. Like I started offering package design actually at first, and it kind of expanded into being brand identity. And then you can always kind of offer services on the side once you get the clients coming in. Maybe they then need something else, and maybe you get yourself more trained in that something else, and you can then offer that as kind of an upsell down the road. So it's not that you have to be stuck there forever. You can keep expanding what you love and designing, but you want to be offering that core service first, and then for that one specific type of client. So that's the best way to do it, is really just kind of list it all out, see what really, really gets you excited, and what you actually are great at too. Yes. Does that help you?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And I hopefully people in the chat think so as well. Because I think it's really important to understand who you like to work with. You don't want to end up working in an industry that the type of clients, like they're just giving you tasks and they don't really want to give you a relationship.
Right.
You want to work with people that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
So let's see. There's just actually there's a lot of questions, and let's see. Because you did answer a lot of these questions, and so I'm just browsing through the ones that could really use more emphasis.
Sure.
So let's go with what advice do you have for junior designers that want to eventually get into freelancing?
Yeah. Are these junior designers working in-house? Like
I didn't get any specifications, but I'm assuming like if they have been working in-house, or they have been probably working at like a small Those are typically where I find people going into freelance, but like, how do you make that transition?
Okay, can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just got a notification. So yeah, so the best thing I would say is to start building up, start really thinking about what you want to do, what type of design you're gravitating towards, and then start actually looking at starting to get some of these clients on the side. Get one client, start working with them on maybe on the weekends or at nighttime, and just I would start building up some client work on the side and start saving money, put money in savings so that you have a cushion for when you decide to leave your job and then you're not just super stressed about, oh no, I have to make enough money right out of the bat. And then you just will take any project, even if it's a $5 logo. So that's why having that cushion and really building up for 3 months of what your expenses are is really good idea, so that you don't get caught off guard. You don't get, and when you can actually take the time to really set it up right after you leave. But really understanding the type of industry you like to work with, the type of projects, and start setting it up on the side, you can absolutely build your whole business and have it ready, and then give your 2 weeks notice too. Yes, I hope that answered that.
That's actually really helpful. And I think a key aspect of finding those projects on the side, I've seen people do a lot of passion projects in that industry. And I've also seen people just doing networking with people in that industry, just to like understand and create relationships with those type of people.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. The connections you make working wherever you're working is super valuable too, because you never know when you're going to need that, or they maybe will know somebody who would be a great fit to work with you. And yeah, absolutely, keeping good connections and not burning bridges or destroying that is a great idea.
Awesome. We're going to do our group photo soon, since
Okay.
We're at time. So feel free to turn on your camera, and we'll give it a few seconds for you to turn on the camera if you want to be in our group photo. This will be shared on all our social media sites. Thank you all so much for coming. I see a lot of questions for Laura in the chat, so maybe you can get back to them afterwards as well. But Design Buddy is also a place where you connect with people and find clients that way, if you wish to do so too. And love the tip that Lauren gave about not just like, hey, I'm a graphic designer, DM me if you need any logos. Don't do that. And I was like plus 1,000. But yeah, that was like super important, because we have some people who do that. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's just like a super important thing that I feel like it's so important to stand out and really give value and everything, and convince people how we can give value. With that, we're gonna do a group photo and our Instagram on our way for our Instagram story. So, all right, 5, 4. Feel free to bring a plushie if you want to. I always carry this on my Zoom calls.
That's cute.
All right, 5, 4. There's multiple pages, so just keep smiling. 3, 2, 1. Say cheese. All right, gonna go other pages. Awesome. Well, thanks y'all for coming. Make sure to connect with Lauren in the links in the chat, connect with your buddies on a networking sheet, and connect with Design Buddies, and check out Consistent Clients. I'm going to drop the link again in the chat so you can check that out.
And anybody can also reach out to me. I see a bunch of questions, and I'm so sorry we didn't get to everybody's questions. Please, you can always send me a message through Instagram. I would love to work with you, help you with any questions. Okay. I always hate when there's questions unanswered.
Yeah, definitely reach out. If you have some extra time, feel free to answer that as well. But I know I want to be respectful of everyone's time too. So definitely reach out to Lauren on Instagram. The link is in the chat. It's at For the Creatives. And we also tagged her on our Instagram story. So that's where you can find her for more questions.
Do you want, should I go through the questions, or what?
If you want, but I feel like maybe since it's that time and we have other admins in the call, maybe we could do our retrospective meeting. Yeah, but thanks everyone for coming.